Hello, and welcome to Save Hours of Time on Reporting Analysis Tasks in Excel with Sage Office Connector. My name is Vincent Pate, and I'm with Sage in our sales department, but don't let that stop you from listening to me right now today. What we're going to do is go through a couple quick slides talking about what Sage Office Connector is at a very high level, and then I'm going to give you some examples of what it looks like, how it works, and design something pretty quick and easy as well that we can work with. Now, I do want to let you guys know that the whole point of Sage Office Connector is to harness the power of Excel with your Sage 300 data. We find that many people are currently using Sage 300, writing reports in either Sage Report Designer or Crystal, and then wanting to get those over into Excel at the end of the day. So what you end up having to do is do a printout to Excel. And whenever you do that, it causes the data to not exactly be where you want it to be. You have to make alterations to the columns and to the different types of data coming in. And so what we wanted to do was have a product that basically bridged that gap, made it so that instead of taking a report out of Sage and pushing it into Excel, you could write the report in Excel. And since Excel is one of the most popular solutions out there in the market for databases, let's just take advantage of it. And most companies out there have a Excel expert, or many Excel experts, as I typically find. Now, Office Connector itself is designed to work in three different parts. Those parts are query, write, and import. Now, let's focus real quickly on what each of these are. So the query is the ability for Office Connector to read data in Sage into Excel. And that means you can create whatever type of report you want, but have it built and refreshable in Excel, so you don't have to worry about any of that stuff I talked about earlier where you take a report and have to push it into Excel and go that route. Instead, it's already written, ready to go, and viewable to anyone in your office who you've given access to. We have a write piece as well, and the write piece basically takes these static reports that people all have and turns them bidirectional. Instead of just having a report that says, here's the data, how about if you could also update some of those values and fields in there and push them back into Sage? Cost complete reports, update addresses, contacts, pretty much anything that is ODBC writable or basically allowed to update the database doesn't break your tables in Sage, because we do make sure that nothing's breakable. So the write does that piece to it, makes those reports become bidirectional, and of course, completely makes a report much more powerful in that regard. Now the import, I'm not going to touch too much on the import today. I'll cover a little bit here, but do know imports are typically designed to take a task that you do in Sage today and move it to Excel. So instead of entering payroll into Sage, you can instead enter payroll into Excel and push it into Sage from there, or do your cash balance, your bank reconciliation, and do that in Excel, or do an AP invoice in Excel. The idea is that imports are moving those tasks into there. And again, I'll show some examples here in just a little bit. We also have a financials piece that sits on top of all this, specifically on the query portion, so that you can also get some very complex financial reports, and I'll cover that too. Last piece before we get into the actual demo is let's get a little bit more information about what we're talking about here. So with our system, we've got, the licenses are concurrent, and that means you can share licenses throughout. But the key pieces are you can now use Office Connector to grab your data in Excel, write it back, and turn actions into where they need to go. But we also have a query designer piece that allows you to have all that stuff we talked about in Excel. And it allows you to do a lot more than just write a single report. In Sage Report Designer, you can grab the information from a certain table and have it appear. Well, with Office Connector, you can actually grab tables all across the Sage database and make it all exist on one spreadsheet in Excel. And it also allows you to evolve the report as you enter it. I've worked on so many databases in Excel that one of the things I typically find is I start out with an idea of what I want, but the end result after a day's worth of work, looks completely different than what I started with. And we use that same mentality when we're building reports in Office Connector, because you can see visually if what you put in works immediately. And as you change things, move cells around it, Excel keeps everything put together. It allows you to merge your Sage 300 data with non-Sage 300 data, because again, I'm pulling it into Excel, and Excel has each spot in it, each cell can pull from different areas. It doesn't all have to be from your Sage database. So let's take a look at it. Now, as a starting point, Office Connector does have a starter package that pretty much everyone on Sage 300 will have. It has 6 reports out of the box that you can start using. Now, these are accessible through the Office Connector starter that you should have either in Sage Desktop or right there in your software. So feel free to check these out. There's some pretty powerful reports here that many people don't realize they already own. But we're going to really be focusing on the reports that come with the actual additional portion of Office Connector, the full portion of it. Now, I've got a couple of them I've already ran that we can take a look at as examples of some of the things you can build on here. Now, what you're looking at on the screen here is a Excel page showing an AR aging report. This AR aging report is something that comes out of the box, and we have certain reports that are, when you buy Office Connector, you get them. We got aging reports, vendor queries, financial statements, trial balances, cost to complete, property management data. We have a lot of different pieces, and many of them are designed to kind of show off what we can do at the end of the day with Office Connector. So this report here is literally pinging my AR data, aging everything out based on the dates that I put into the system, and it's showing each of my customer information on there. We also have another report that might grab all of your cost to complete data in job cost. You put in a job, and it pulls in all of your cost data and makes it available. So I will point out, I want you to keep your minds open and think of all the possibilities of reports that you could build in here that can then take all the information you're trying to compile in Sage and make it all available in Excel. So some good examples on this, besides looking at the AR aging and looking at the cost complete, is, let's take a look at, how about a job cash flow analysis by job? In this case, one of the things on the report we can do, if I go refresh this as of 2015 when my data is, if you notice, this report is blank, but really it's not. What we have here is behind the scenes, we have Office Connector functionality built in, ready to go. And as somebody in the office who pulls up this report, whether this is custom built one or one out of the box, I just come into the report and I do a refresh on here, connect to my data, use my same security that you use in Sage today, make sure that you're not running any reports you don't have security access to, things like that. And what this does is then refreshes the data right live out of your Sage accounting data. And it can use things like Excel to create this cash flow trend report. This is a already pre-built graph that's looking at the data in Sage and then distributing it out to my eyes, and I can then work on it however I need. This means that no longer are you working with just those static reports that Sage gives you. You can now go in and build exactly what you want with the color schemas, and everything's in the right columns with fonts that you want to read and distribute out to your accountants and your project managers and everyone else. And you just need to refresh the data, and now you have that data from Sage 300. On top of this, with other examples on here, you can create information that you could search. Instead of just doing a report to look at data, maybe I want to actually search my Sage database for information I need. You can, of course, build a report that grabs some specific data, but also with this, this is one of them out of the box called Search for Transactions, simply enough. And if I go here and run that, one of the things we can do is search for any data that's in a certain date range, and my data happens to be in 2015, so I'm switching that to match there. And what you do is you take what data folder I want to search for, What applications do I want to look in? Maybe I want to look in all of these pieces, not property and not in this data set. And I want everything that has water hookup within this date range. I'll do a search, and it literally runs through my data and tries to find that information for you. This is, again, one of the reports out of the box that you can take advantage of right away. Now, this one happens to be one that takes just a tiny bit of time because it is searching your entire data set for where you need. And hey, look, it's got some job cost records and some AP records it found. I can drop in the AP, and it'll show me exactly anything that matched that description. And, of course, the information that goes along with it. Now, I mentioned earlier, we also have a financial statement piece as well. You can actually create your own complex financial statements through here. And this allows you to actually go back up to 10 years into the past and up to 6 months into the future based on the budgets that you have on there. It's a very simple and easy to use report designer that allows you to get entity comparisons, multi-folders with drill down. You can even combine data sets. Say you have 10 companies in Sage. Well, maybe let's merge them all together and make one financial statement for them. This looks like, here's one right here. I ran this as for a certain fiscal year and period, I wanted my trial balance sheet, and profit and loss. And this is one out of the box as well that you can pull up and say, well, here's my trial balance. Here's my balance sheet, my profit and loss. And if I want to see the details, we even have drill down capabilities to run sub-reports. This is a blank report at the current moment, but what we do is with a drill down is you actually have it feed in values into there and then run the Office Connector piece to get you those details that you're looking at. Now, how does all this, work? We allow you to design reports in the software to basically do whatever you need. So if I wanted to create a new report in Office Connector, the nice thing about it is that I can evolve the report as I think. I don't have to start out building all the blocks that needs to come out. I can change it as I go. So let's say I wanted to get a financial report for the year. I can just start throwing things down in Excel. We got the year, and we want a company in the data set. And so, let's go ahead and bold those, make those look nice. We're going to run mine for 2015. I want my company 10 in the system. Well, now I want to make sure company 10 actually exists. I don't want to just run a report for a company that doesn't. First thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and use the first Office Connector piece I'll show you here, which is the lookup wizard. I connect to my data, and what I'm doing is in this cell here, I'm going to look up a value based on something else. I want the GL company, and I want to get the name of the company out. Now, the other thing that's nice about this is we put a preview there. If you want to see what's in your data set before you even start grabbing stuff out, there it is right there. And that allows you to verify your data is good. And also, I can look right here and I can see my company is correct. But I want to make it go all the way further here. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. I'm going to say the company that I'm going to be pinging is in the B2 field. And I want to just return the company description. And maybe I want anything else. I just select it, and then there it goes. Let's go ahead and make that red just so it stands out. And then down below, let's grab a bunch of data in the system. What I want to do right now, and let's go ahead and say I want to get a year's worth of financials in the system. So I'm going to do that by grabbing all my base accounts out of there. Now, if I just want the base account and title, I'll go ahead and grab those. I don't need any special conditions. I'm just going to dump them into the screen and have them available. And from here, as I said earlier, we have the ability to just make these look nice and neat. Now I can go ahead and drop that down, make this be a certain color schema so that as I enter in all my periods, everything looks nice. I'll just go to period 10 for now. Bold those up. And maybe again, just like before, let's make those a different color so we can keep those separate. Now, here's where we're going to grab our next functionality out of Office Connector. I want to get the financials for that year and that period for that GL account. We have a full system here to let you build out your functions however you need to. And this will tell you exactly how they work and you can do things like count how many values are in a particular data set that match up to your criteria, or you want to sum up the values and return them, or we want to get a financial statement that grabs cash balance or year-to-date activity or period activity, which is what I'm going for right now. I can grab and do just that, and this wizard walks me through this particular cell. And the cell's asking me, where's the company located at? Right there. The base account's located at this spot right here. My fiscal year, fiscal year is right up there. Period is going to be located in the C5 field, at least initially. And I'm looking for the period activity. I get that information. Let's go ahead and turn that into dollar signs. And now, using normal Excel stuff, I can click and drag that down, drop it to the bottom, and now I've got a financial statement for 2015 for my company 10 for each period on my base account. There it is. If I wanted to change companies, well, I just type in the new company name and it updates the data. General Construction has this data in it. My equipment branch has that. And remember I said there's some quick validation. If I typed in 2 and that doesn't exist, my data is blank. And that is my key right there to know that I just typed in an invalid company, involving that report exactly that we need. I also mentioned earlier that you don't have to have everything matching up in terms of, GL, job cost, AP. If I wanted to create a dashboard report with data coming from all different places of Sage, I could do that. I could over here grab all my job cost transactions for a job. Let's go ahead and throw in a job up here. Let's say it's job 03001. And I want to get right here all of the job cost transactions. Or I want to get the total of all the job cost transactions. Let's go to sum functionality. Sum of JC, and I want the amount for that job. And I can reference back into the O1 field right there. And now coming in, there's the total for that job. Maybe I want to move that over here. Again, it's Excel. Excel's nice because you can copy and paste and it remembers where everything was as you move it along. Summarizing the data before it even gets into Excel saves you from having to hide different values around. You can get everything exactly what you need there. Now, once I save this, it becomes part of my office. If someone wants to open up this Excel spreadsheet, they can run this on their own. Now, a couple other functionalities. I told you not only can we ping and create reports in Office Connector, but you can also write data back. If I wanted to build a write back and say, maybe I want to grab, let's get this job's name and information. So let's grab that. I'm just going to go and do a quick look up here on the job, JC job, and I want the job located in the O1 field, and I want to return back the description and the address and the city, state, zip. And what if I wanted to say, the job moved and we need to move it to a new location? I can build out a new field here. Let's put a yellow. I'm going to say new address. Let's put the new address right there. Let's bold that so I know what I'm actually looking at, and there's the field. Then in Office Connector, what we do is we just create a write piece. And we, again, have a wizard just like everywhere else in the software. The write wizard says, well, what am I updating? I'm updating the job. I'm going to modify or create. I'm going to update the job located in the O1 field. And I want to update the address. And where's the new address located at? It's located in the P3 field. Now, if I come over here and type in 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever there, I can hide any of these columns that we don't need to see either. I can say 1, 2, 3, 4, Northwest Greenbrier. Just moved right down the street. Now I have that. I just do a write back, and this will then allow me to, let's go and refresh my data so I can push this back. Now I can write that back, and it will update the value in Sage right through Sage Office Connector. Now, The examples that come out of the box, we've got plenty of them. On the reports, we have some built-in write-backs to update your equipment maintenance information, your GL budgets, create cost complete, job work in progress reports, updating your employees. As I brought in very early in this conversation, the cost complete worksheet is one of the reports that you can just use out of the box. And it's designed to show you all of your cost codes for a job, your estimate, what's been changed, what's been committed, your job cost date, and then, of course, allow you to update the cost complete right there. And unlike a static report that you get running out of Sage, this gives you responses immediately. I can see the cost at completion and the over-under update as I enter in different values. And then again, I can hit the export button, and all those will then push into Sage. And it really could be anything. Again, could anything considered ODBC writable, meaning it won't break a data table in Sage when you push it over. Now, one last example I'm going to give you, and then I'll look to see if there's any questions in the chat and Q&A, and I'll answer those when we get to that point. But we also have the import section. And as I said earlier, the imports are really designed as a place to take something that you do in Sage normally and do it in Excel instead. Something like entering your time into Excel so that it pushes back into Sage right from there, or being able to do your direct cost entries from job cost in Excel, or doing your clearing of checks, your bank reconciliation. In Sage right now, you could do the bank reconciliation, but you're kind of using a small screen. You don't have good search functionality. So what if we did? Let's use these values, and I'm going to grab a date range of actual, this will be fine. And with this, I can actually do my bank rec in Excel. Pulls in all of my data that I would normally have in CM, and I would just come over here and clear it. And I just put in a, let's say an X on each one, and you can see that it clears them out as you go through it. That gives you the ability to do this, and then with the import is this creates an import file that you can then put right into Sage. You might be thinking to yourself, well, I can do an import file anyways. There's the task import payroll time. There's a task import whatever. It's true. But an import file typically requires all, it's a CSV, ugly to read, hard to work with on your own. And so what we do in Office Connector is we have some hidden fields behind the scenes that literally take your report that you're working, and it transposes everything over into that CSV file behind the scenes and pushes it in Sage. So you don't have to deal with any of that stuff. Now, as I said, we'll get into a Q&A in here in just a second. I just want to reiterate to everyone what we're looking at. Office Connector is a great report design tool. You can build in all your reports in Excel exactly how you need to see them, with complex financial statements and even the ability to update the Sage data right there from Excel without having to jump into modules, use those licenses, things like that. If you are interested in getting pricing on this or learning more information, calling 800-858-7095 will put you in touch with your Sage account manager, and they can, of course, give you pricing, anything like that, next steps for you. And if you'd like any technical stuff answered, email me, vincent.pate@sage.com. I can answer there or even push you over to the right person. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and check the chat Q&A, see if there's any questions out there. And I'm pulling those up right now. Okay, so I do see a lot of questions in there. I'll kind of start from the newest ones first and then go back in case I've already answered them as we go through here. So someone asked about security in the system, specifically about writing data back. It's a great question because, you don't want to give the access to somebody who can update your data incorrectly. You absolutely can control not only what they can see in the Sage Office Connector, but also what they can write back. And you'll be able to tell you who can write back data in your data set. Somebody asked about cost. As I pointed out, the best option would be call that 800 number there, or talk to your Sage business partner as well. If you have a good relationship with them, they can get you pricing too. So someone asked, can you consolidate information across different companies? You can. Just to let you know, if you're doing it for financial statements, we've got a pretty easy built-in consolidation tool for financial statements. If you're talking about things outside of financial statements, it can be done, but you're probably going to start looking into getting into some complex scripting in Excel to make that happen. But it is absolutely possible. And if you need any assistance with that, we've got professional services groups that can help you with that too. Now, someone asked about data dictionary and table structure information. That's all actually in Sage. You can actually pull it right out of Sage Report Designer. There's a KB article that you can do a search for. Just type in, look up data dictionary, and the KB article can walk you through exactly how to get that information out of Sage. Someone asked also, does writing to Sage create log entries? And that answer is yes. We can write, as you write to the data, it will create a log entry telling you who updated the data, what did they update, and when and where. All of that's saved so you can keep those detailed log entries, knowing exactly who's using the Office Connector for you. And same person also asked, which modules does this work with? Works with all modules except for purchasing, inventory, and service management, which is, I think, one of the modules you were asking for. But it works with every other module outside of PO, IV, and SM. I do have time for just a couple last questions here. Anything I don't answer, feel free to email me and I'll get you answered later today. So I'm just kind of looking through some of these questions that are already answered. So yeah, the last question and let me just do this one last one here. Can you show an example of importing time from Excel to payroll time? Yeah, we do have an import out of the box called PR time entry. And this is one that you can, modify with our designers if you want to add extra fields or anything like that. But within here, you can put in your time periods that you're starting with and then start putting in all your dates and information. So if I wanted to say it's this date, this employee, job, cost code, pay ID, start time, and hours, I just build this all out in Excel. And then what we do is we hit the import button, and that takes this data and it pushes it into payroll directly for you. And again, if out of the box, this doesn't have everything you need, like classifieds, unions, things like that, modify the report with our designers to add that stuff. Absolutely doable for you. All right, guys, I thank you all very much for attending today. I will get this recording out to everyone. Once again, feel free to call us or email me any questions I wasn't able to answer due to the time there. Thank you.